So who gonna do the intro? Me or you?
Why the fuck would anybody do the intro but me? In
Go
fact, this
for it.
is the intro. I'm not even going to do an intro because that's the intro. You just started the video.
What's up, YouTuber? Hey, you boy RJ. I need to tell you the two different. You got flexing and you got overflexing. Flexing is when you actually know how to pay multiple wall to a foot. Overflexing is when you try to pay a wall from the jump for your team.
Okay. And before we go any deeper on this conversation, I want to preface this with proof that, we know what we're talking about, right? We are the literal worst trio in Marvel Rivals history. So if you want to believe anybody for advice on Marvel Rivals, it's us. We are genuinely dog shit at the game as a trio. And if it works for us, it's bound to work for people that are actually good at video games. That's what we're going for. We're going to be, I'm going to advertise us as the worst trio at Marvel Rivals.
But now, back to the conversation we were having and everything else. And let me tell you something. We tried to, we were overflexing. We were on the longest losing streak in history. It was no end inside. It literally take our confidence to be like, yeah, we done flexing for the team. And we had to start paying our main just to get back to our wank.
So let's look at it like this, right? You're overflexing. You're in gold and you're in a lobby and no one selects a character. A lot of times this is actually what happens. We were trying that out on our alt accounts. And no one will select a character. It's almost like everyone on your team is waiting for somebody to pick something. So then everybody on your team will then flex into something based off of the picks that they see. That makes me think there are way more people in this game that at least think they're flex players than there actually are. And there are a lot of people who get punished for it. One tricking is bad, but flexing too much is also equally as bad. You lose consistency. So because you're not playing the same character, you're not gaining the experience you can have for that character in your rank, and you're constantly swapping characters. You can't be consistent in anything. And that's why it's very important to have at least one character in each role, ideally, but at least one character that is your comfort pick.
So let me give you an example and everything else. I am a silver DPS player. So say that we in a game for diamond and nobody going DPS and I decide to go DPS. I'm holding the team back because I am a silver DPS. That mess up the comp because people are not paying the world the strong AI and everything else. Yeah, in your head, you are thinking, oh yeah, I'm GM. I can pay every role as a GM player. No, you can't. You can be a gold tank player, a GM, DPS, and then a celestial strategy player. So when you are flexing and say you got flex, you wicked low, you hunt the team back. Because for example, when I first started playing Doctor Strange, I go against a one chick and he dipped me. Because he understands that character way more better. He knew the tag, the mechanic, how to cover that, how to put with his team. He had more knowledge on that character that I knew I was doing bad for my team.
Yeah, overflexing can fuck you over due to the fact that you have to learn every single character and try to learn every single counter as well. You have to figure out how to play those set characters, and switching to different characters to flex for the team can mess you over, especially if you didn't put in the time to prepare for that match with that set character. It can screw you over though, because especially to mess up your rhythm, your groove, especially going out there not knowing if you're going to do well or not. It also relates to the same topic of you being like a bronze player on that hero, or diamond or whatever rank you're at right now. Though you could have played that hero at some point and were like really dominant with them, but still haven't played them since that time. You still cannot perform to that expectation of, because you haven't put in the time at all. So it will definitely screw you over in trying to be that overachiever and being a flex player. Comes with its pros and cons though, but you have to be aware of your surroundings and what's on the field.
The biggest thing that killer in matching, no matter when people overflex it take you a minute to warm up and to get your mindset changed. Because look what happened yesterday when me and Javen went tank. It take a good 4 minutes to remember how to play tank correctly. And then when we got back our glue, we had all the momentum, but it take time. And that time, it costs us a point, and it costs us to do a fucking comeback. And sometimes you don't got time for that bigger comeback.
Tempo is a very important resource in this game that is often underlooked in our ranks, because a simple swap to a different tank can completely throw off the entire match tempo. And losing tempo in a competitive game is the reason you're going to lose.
For the better or the worse, though, especially with a certain swap, that could literally just completely let the other team roll you down completely, especially if it's a bad swap. Definitely tell people when you're about to swap, and tell them that if you're doing bad on this role, that I'm switching to a whole different role, because that would make or break the comp and the rhythm of the game. Because especially if no one's aware of it happening, they'll be like, oh, where's my healers at? And there's no healing output, and like both your healers swapped off for some reason you don't even know. You suddenly got, you know, all DPS and 2 tanks or 1 tank, and then the 1 tank doesn't know that he's solo tanking because, you know, they swapped off a tank and went DPS, which is a bad thing from time to time depending on what DPS you play.
But to end the thing, I think a lot of people don't realize is when you overflex it, you will always lose to a 1 chick, no matter what.
At the end of the day, overflexing harms you more than helps you, especially if you find yourself in the rank of gold, silver, or bronze. In those ranks, you should 100% be putting more of your time on a single character, if not a few single characters in different roles. That's it. If you find yourself constantly switching to tank because your team needs a tank, you're probably hindering your team more than you're helping your team. And if you really want to do that, if you really want to be that guy who can play all the roles in gold and diamond and silver, then go to quick play and learn these characters before you think that you can just flex into a character you don't play normally.
Or make a account.
Cut that from the, I'm cutting that too. Or make it all. You can't encourage people to smurf. And now I got to keep this in the video because I think it's kind of funny.
I'm not encouraging people. Oh,
You just
make a account you can do rank on each role, because the game don't got role crew. You can never gain. You can never level up the same. Like if this game have role crew, if you can be like, you know what? I want a little tank. I want to try to get my tank to diamond. I'm trying to get my DPS to diamond. I'm trying to get my strategy to diamond. Because this game don't got Roku, you gotta make an account.
That's a topic for another day. You can continue on and we'll be talking about role queue. And then I can take that all fucking, I can take this 40-minute recording and make a fucking 3, 4 videos out of it. Shut the fuck up. Stop continuing. Holy shit. Because I still don't think I could create a actual workable fucking conversation with what we just recorded. I'll try my hardest. Don't okay me.
Okay. And then let's do it.
Flexibility will make me elite, but I'm spread too thin, can't compete with the heat. 1 row, 2 rows, better lock in your lane, cause confusion on the team is a fast track to pain. Overflex, yeah, it sound kinda slick, but you fumble every play when you don't stick to a pick. Teammates looking at you like, what you doing, my guy? Now the synergy gone and the whole vibe back. You gotta know when to switch and when to stay 10 toes. Not every moment need a brand new goal. Find your pocket, get sharp, let your skill set go, cause a master one is who really gon' glow. Yeah, balance in the game, that's the code you respect. Be adaptable, but don't drown in the flex. From the lobby to the windscreen, that's the mindset check. Play smart, stay solid, don't overflex.